in the chat. Thank you very much, Julia. And I will pass you over to Lucy. I'm going to turn my camera off because I don't know whether you can hear in the background. I have 2 manic children. So I'm going to let Lucy do her thing without interruption, and I'll be back in a bit and say hi. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Perfect. Right, I am hopefully sharing slides. Let me know if you can see slides right now. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So this is a 1-hour reasonably interactive workshop on how to get started on your sustainability journey. So it really is attempting to simplify things. So we'll talk through a little bit about what it means to be sustainable. What do we actually mean by that term? And then we'll look at the sustainability plan and how you can actually put in place some practical steps to start becoming more sustainable in your business. So a little bit about me, just so you know who's talking to you today. I was a project manager for over 12 years. And in 2013, I wanted to learn a little bit more than what I was learning as a project manager. So I moved away from just learning the traditional skills and started looking into things outside the workplace that I can move into the workplace. So it was things like the NLP courses, life coaching, energy tools. And I found it really helpful to improve the environment in working place. Then I, in 2017, jumped out with corporate companies to go and work with startups and small businesses, which is where I started operating in a more conscious manner and helping small businesses do the same. Really think about what it means to be sustainable in a business. In 2020, I founded Conscious Business Solutions, which is all about looking at a new way of operating, having that positive impact in business. So if you're open to it, I would love to find out a little bit more about who's on the call today and why you are here. So if you're open to having a quick share of what your name is, who your company is, and what you'd like to get out of this workshop, that would be amazing. Colin or Yuri, would you like to share?
Yeah, I'll share. So my name is Colin Fillimore, and I am co-director of an early years music project, which works with babies, very young babies, 0 to 12 months, and latterly 1 to 3 years. And I'm in quite a rural region, so carbon footprint's quite a challenge to reach families, vulnerable families, in the first 1,000 years of life, and using music as a non-verbal, accessible tool to bring therapeutic and build on the superpower of hearing in the womb that babies have. So I'm tomorrow hear about a big organizational grant that I put in for in July, and that will potentially send us in. It's a next level organizational development. So I'm particularly interested in how we can be sustainable across the region of Dorset, which I live on the south coast. So yeah, that's why I'm here, and I'm a member of ASP. Have been for a year, and as has already been said, I'm really keen to how we can give the voice of younger practitioners support going forward.
Okay, brilliant. So Yuri's popped into the chat that she is from Manatee Holdings and she's working from home and it's very loud at the moment. And we've also got Julia on, who is supporting me from ASP. So
Yeah, I was just going to say I can. Obviously, I'm not from a company, but I was just going to say I'm helping out ASP with the Humber Eco Fest. So I guess that can be my company for for today. And yeah, I think my intention for this workshop, along with obviously helping out on the technical side of things, is just getting to know a little bit more and kind of having a bit more of that kind of sustainability and business mindset, and just kind of delving deeper into some of these things that I don't know quite as much about. So it's quite a good new perspective for me to get some insights into.
Awesome. So looking at what it actually means to be sustainable. And I'm going to go for a classic here and look at a dictionary definition. So I'm using Merriam-Webster here. So there's two definitions for sustainability. One is capable of being able to sustain something, so being able to continue doing something. And the other is a method of harvesting or using a resource, so the resource is not depleted or permanently damaged. And really both of these apply to business. We're looking at both how we can sustain business activities and enable that business to be successful, plus how we can use resources to the best of our abilities. Often when we're talking about sustainability, and it happens a lot in ASP too, there are a lot of experts around the environmental side of things, but I always like to point out to people I'm talking to that there are three core pillars to sustainability. So you've got the social, environmental, and economic side of it. So I've spent a lot of time focusing on the social, but when I'm working with businesses, I'm also very much looking at the process and procedures, so the economic side of things, and getting people started with the environment. And there are many benefits to looking at these. So when you put in activities that are going to have a positive impact on a social, environmental, and economic perspective, you'll find that you're going to meet consumer demand because it's what people want to see. People that are out there buying products, buying services, they want to buy from a company that is caring about people, about the environment. And it's the same with employees, with talent. They also want to work for a company that is becoming more sustainable, that has that plan to increase the positive impact it's having. Through the activities you're putting in place, you'll find that you'll be becoming more efficient in your process and procedures, and you'll be reducing your costs. So ultimately, when all this comes together, it's going to increase your company's turnover. So there always is a positive financial element to becoming more sustainable. So there's some people out there that really are focused on the bottom line, and it does actually come into play there. It does have a positive impact on the bottom line. I'm often asked, when I'm talking, it sounds very theoretical then, but there are many companies out there that I could point to, and I like to use Patagonia as an example of what it actually looks like to be a sustainable company. So they are the US company that produces outdoor goods, outdoor wear, and they really do put themselves in a position where they are being a force for good, and they're letting people see how to behave as that force for good. They've got a really strong purpose. They've got a strong sustainability agenda. They have got a business model where they produce goods that will last for as long as possible, typically around, say, 10 years. They're aiming for products to have quite a long shelf life then. Whereas other companies that are doing a similar thing are only looking to produce things that are going to last, say, 3 years. And the reason for it is some of those companies just want the repeat business. They want companies to buy from them again, to buy something, have that product wear out, and come back and buy again. Whereas Patagonia, they care about the resources. They just want to produce things that are going to last for as long as possible. And they've got schemes in place so that the items can be repaired, and they really want to extend the life of those goods. They donate a lot of money to charities and organisations that need it, and they keep looking to do better, keep looking to improve what they're doing. So they're a really positive example of what it means to be sustainable. If you would like to open your sustainability plan template, which was shared in an email before the meeting when you signed up, that's going to be super useful. We'll look at the second section in the plan, which is all about purpose. What's your purpose of having a sustainability plan? So it's about describing why your business wants to become more socially, environmentally, and economically sustainable. So it's very much that why thing that enables you to show the benefits to your business of putting this in place at a very high level, but it motivates people. It gets people really engaged when they see your purpose for your sustainability plan. And I've got a little example here, and you'll find that I'm trying to keep things very simple because I want businesses to understand, especially small businesses, that it doesn't have to be complicated, complex to become sustainable. It really is about putting things in place, getting started, and moving forward, and keep looking at what else you can put in place, what else you can do. So you'll find there's lots of simple examples then within this. So what I've written for CBS in terms of the purpose of the sustainability plan is CBS teaches others about conscious business practices. So we need to take on board sustainability items ourselves first and foremost. We both want to play our part in reducing harm to people on the planet, as well as inspiring others to do the same. What I'd like to do now is actually give you the time to take 4 minutes to think about what your purpose is going to be. What you can actually type something out in that section of the sustainability plan, or if you've printed it out, write something down about what the purpose is for your business. I see we've had someone else join. Good evening, Pravin. I've just given a little bit of an intro to sustainability, and we've opened the sustainability plan. I'm going to take a little bit of time to think about why we want to be more sustainable in our business. This is going to be the first one, social sustainability, which is all about people, human investment. It's about looking to have a more positive impact on the people associated with your business. And that's going to be everybody that's impacted by your business. So you'll notice in the sustainability plan, it's very practical. That's the point of it. And it gets you to think about what's already in place in terms of sustainability. So that's kind of the first section of the KPIs section. And it allows you to then state what you'll be putting in place this time around. And it really is thinking about an activity that you're going to put in place in the classic SMART manner. So you're being specific with what you're putting in place, you're ensuring it's measurable, achievable, realistic, and you're in a time frame. So you really are attempting to put in place all of the measurements that you'd need so that you know that when you've successfully put in place this particular activity. That's why it really is such a practical solution to put in place a sustainability plan. Then the second part of the social sustainability section will be to actually, within the table, list some actions, list the activities that you're going to put in place for the next period of time that you're talking about. And I'm always thinking of social sustainability in terms of the employees, the customers, and the community. And you could expand on that. You could think about suppliers as well. But to keep it simple, as I said earlier on, I really do want to make sure that this is something that people see they can get started with really easily. So I've ensured that the plan itself is very practical yet easy to complete, and just allows people to get started on their journey. So in terms of employees, if you've got employees in your company, you could be thinking about how you reward them. Are there benefits that you could put in place that maybe employees want to see and aren't there yet? And it's a case of really talking to them and finding out what they want. Maybe you've got some in place that aren't used very much, and you could swap over something that would be more useful then, that people would actually use, and therefore is seen as more of a reward, more of a benefit for them. Physical and mental health, this is coming up a lot more as people realise that it's important for employees to be healthy. It's going to ensure that they are happier and can do a good job in the workplace. They are going to be able to be more productive, and it's going to ensure that they are coming up with better solutions just because they are healthier. So there's a lot of benefits to thinking about what you could do to help your employees to be healthier. And it could be as simple as saying, do you know what, once a week we'll have a exercise class, a yoga class, or a company badminton club, tennis club, and people will get together, and there'll be a bit of a social element, but they'll get to have a bit of a workout at the same time. Lots of things that people can put in place in terms of physical and mental health. And then there's ways of working, which really is talking about the guidelines in place for how you operate in your business, and something that you can put in place to ensure you are supporting your employees more is a meeting guidelines, which helps ensure that people can really have the say in a meeting. They feel that it's a safe space. There are certain rules or guidelines that surround meetings, which ensure that everybody can feedback, share their opinions, point out issues with something, and they feel like they're not going to be criticized or condemned for anything. It really is going to be something that's going to allow them to speak it out. Is going to be a positive thing. So there's some things that you could think about in terms of employees. In terms of customers, what could you do to better care for your customers? Could you put in place more checkpoints for customers so you can get to know them better, have more of those conversations outside of the work conversation, so you can build up a stronger rapport with the customer? You can therefore get to know their wants and needs a little bit more, so you can actually provide a better service to them. And something that's really important in a conscious business is allowing a process for customers to make complaints or feedback on things. Back in the day, that was seen as a very negative thing. Companies were very reluctant to have in place a complaints process. They knew perhaps they needed to, but complaints were seen as a bad thing. It didn't make people feel good about themselves. But we're saying, no, complaints are good. It's how you learn, it's how you evolve, it's how you can actually provide better products, better services, better standard of care to your customers. So think about what you could do in terms of that. And community. What could you do to better engage your community? That could be your local community from a geographic point of view, or it could be a group that you belong to. So, for instance, I provide a discount to my local chamber. So all of the members of my local chamber would get a 10% discount to my products and services. So what could you do to show that you care about people in a certain community and to give them a better value, perhaps? And then there's community service, which again, there are so many benefits to this. It's not just that you, through taking part in a local project for a school or a local charity or the local council, not just that you'll have a positive impact on them, you'll help them complete a certain task. There's that well-being aspect of people feeling good about themselves because they've been able to go out there and help. So that's something you could do in terms of community service. And that's just a few ideas. There are so many other things I could list here, but we've only got an hour. So a few examples, and I keep saying it, but I've really tried to make this super simple. I haven't got really complicated goals here. I've just made them smart in a simple manner. So an action that I could put in place could be review employee benefits on offer and provide better fitting benefits. And a goal related to this could be twice a year provide each employee with an experience of their choice up to the value of £50. The action, provide added value to customers, and the goal would be to send free informative PDF or video to customers on a quarterly basis. So really keeping it simple, but being able to go out there and have more of a positive impact on the people associated with the business. We're back at that slot. If you would like to note down on your sustainability plan in the social sustainability section what you'd like to put in place, and it only needs to be 1 or 2 ideas for now. What activity would you like to put in place to have a more positive impact on the people associated with your business? And as you've seen in the plan, it's not just a case of writing what the actual activity is, it's thinking about what the benefits are going to be. So making sure you're actually doing the right thing for your business, ensuring that you've noted who's going to be responsible for this, and putting in place a completion date for that actual activity. So if you'd like to take 5 minutes now to have a think about that, and then we'll share afterwards. I've just put in the chat for the few that didn't have it, the sustainability one. So it took me a few moments to realize how I could actually share there. So I had a whole pause to the presentation, but it's back up and running again. Right, our 5 minutes is just about our folks that didn't have the plan until the very end of that time, but hopefully you've had a think about it and you can make some notes at a later point. We've only got a minute or two at this point because I want to make sure we end on time, we finish up on time. So if there's one or two shares at this point, one or two ideas that people have got, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so we're basically we're a group of freelance workers, and it's been one of my goals to eat together and share, to because it's quite, and especially in recent years, it's been quite isolating. So the work we do is very exciting. The outcomes are amazing, and so I want to capture that energy and give people opportunity to eat together. But as I've explained, our geography is quite wide, so that's not been an easy thing to do.
That's a brilliant idea. Is there a certain time frame? Will it be like once a quarter, something like that? If you're
So what I said is, if we're successful in our big bid for organisational development tomorrow, that starts in January, the funding. So I would want to use that first term to meet up and do that in sort of January to April.
Amazing. Sounds like a brilliant idea. We will jump on to the next pillar, which is environmental sustainability. So it's all about ensuring that your company is able to operate in a way that's going to reduce its impact on the planet. I have got negate there, but I think it takes some time to lead up to that. We know we're on a journey, so to get started, it's just a case of looking at how you can reduce the impact you're having on the planet, the negative impact. As with social sustainability, the first part of this section is all about the goals, the KPIs, and working exactly the same way. You're just looking at what you've already got in place in terms of your targets and what you could put in place in terms of the new activities you're going to be putting in place now. And the sorts of things, I've got some examples there, the sorts of things you could think about measuring are energy usage, water usage, carbon emissions. So they're the practical things that you can actually measure in terms of environmental sustainability. And I've got it split here into 4 sections. And again, there are other things that you could think about, but I think these are really good things to think about when you actually get started. There are things like biodiversity, you could think about at a later point or even combine with your carbon footprint solution. But we're thinking about waste, energy and water usage, daily operations, and your carbon footprint here. So in terms of waste, how could you recycle, reuse, or dispose of items more often? So things aren't just going into a landfill. You're actually having to think about where things could be repurposed, how you can extend that shelf life for things. Just like Patagonia has that plan, they've got their repair scheme in place. What could you do to just extend that life of products or reuse them in another way so they aren't just going to a landfill somewhere? Energy and water usage, what could you use? What could you do? What kind of activity could you put in place to reduce energy usage, basically? Back in the day, I remember I was working in corporate offices and there were lots of signs up about turning off lights, and really think about how often you used taps. But there's also, you know, all the sorts of things about, you could put things in the toilet systems so that they use less water. So there are lots of little practical things you could still do in an office environment that's going to be looking at reducing energy usage. And there's always the option of looking at reviewing who supplies your energy and attempting to move to a green supplier. I know if you work in an office somewhere, sometimes it's up to the landlord to look into who the energy supplier might be, but it's a case of really looking into what the possibilities are, maybe talking to the landlord and seeing, can you go for a greener supplier? What's the options there? Daily operations, we're looking at using more recycled products. And the classic there is paper, but it's what else could you use that's being used around the office? What could you buy? What supplies could you bring in that's going to be made from recycled products? So you're doing your bit for the environment in that way. And looking at using non-toxic materials or cleaners within the office environment. Carbon footprint, obviously there are a growing number of companies that look to help you track your carbon footprint, will talk you through the sorts of things that can be measured and how they get measured, so you can actually track how much carbon is being emitted by your company through your company's operations. And you could then look to put in place something to offset those carbon emissions. And just to state that is there on the list, the offsetting is there as an addition to everything else. It's not a case of greenwashing and saying, forget everything else, haven't got time, let's just do the offsetting. It really is coming together and having a practical solution that is in the best interest of the planet. So it's just part of the solution you put in place. And there are companies out there that do put a lot of thought into how they help you offset carbon emissions. And it's not just about planting some trees, but there's thought into what trees are planted, how quickly are they going to grow and therefore be having an impact on pulling that carbon out of the atmosphere, and what other things could be put in place, like those biodiversity schemes at the same time. So just to point out, one of the ASP companies that does that sort of thing is Highland Carbon, and they've got some amazing schemes in place for different size companies to help you offset carbon emissions in a really positive manner. Some examples here then. Again, I'm being really overly simplistic just to show it doesn't need to be complicated. So an action, review and improve daily operations. Specifically, I'm thinking here in terms of cleaning brands used. And the goal is to implement one new activity a quarter to improve sustainability of daily operations. And that's how I've got it, because I think that maybe the cleaning products is one thing I would do, but I want to have an ongoing target there, an ongoing activity of keeping finding new ways of having a positive impact on daily operations. Another action, run a campaign to decrease energy usage in the office. And the goal would be to decrease energy usage by 5% in the next quarter. So very specific, measurable. And you could then drill down into actually how that would be done. I'm going to put a little bit less time on the clock this time, because we are closing in on that 7:30 endpoint. So if you could put just 4 minutes aside here to have a think about what you would like to do to improve your impact on the environment. How are you going to be more environmentally sustainable in your business? And we'll come back for a share or two in 4 minutes. All right, that's our 4 minutes up. I'm going to go to a quick share we've had in the chat from Michelle, because I want to point out that you don't need to be a big company to have a sustainability plan. You can be a smaller company, you can be a solopreneur. So Michelle's pointed out that she works from home. So whenever she's talking about sustainability, it's within the home environment. So she's already got green energy, but what she's thinking about is her car. That's going to be her biggest emitter. So she's really thinking more about when she drives and where she drives to reduce the impact she's having on the planet, basically. So reducing the number of journeys she's taking and the length of the journeys where possible. There'll have to be a little bit of thought into what the goal is there to put some measurements in place. But it's if you're working from home, you know, there are practical things you can think about in terms of what you can do to become more environmentally sustainable. I'm going to jump on to economic sustainability. So this is all about use of assets within the company. So any materials you use, it's in terms of people as well. So how you use all the assets within your business to maintain profitability, how you can be as efficient as possible with these assets. Just like with the other two, you're going to start off thinking about the goals, the KPIs, what's already in place, what you're going to put in place for these the new activities that are going down on your plan. And I've done this one a little bit differently. I'm thinking about internal versus external activities. So internally, the sorts of things you're thinking about in terms of economic are systems efficiencies. There are so many times that we put in place some sort of process or procedure, and over time, just add a bit here, add a bit there, something changes, someone has a new idea, and we just extend it here. And it kind of grows into this unwieldy process that may or may not work, but it certainly isn't as efficient as it could be. So it's having to think about where you could re-engineer processes and procedures in your business so that they can be more efficient. That in turn is going to help you reduce operational costs. If you are spending less time running through a process, and it could be even less energy, less computer memory to run through these things, it's going to reduce the amount of time or the amount of the cost associated with that particular process. But you could also think about where else you could reduce operational costs. Are there suppliers you could review, so you could look to getting a better deal elsewhere, building a relationship and getting a better deal with another supplier. So just thinking about what other things you could do in your business. And then there's management of resources, thinking about having the right people on a project for the right amount of time. So you are using your human resources as efficiently as possible, but any other materials, any other items that you're using within that project, are they being used as efficiently as possible? So really having that plan at the start of a project as to how you're going to use things so that you can better manage your resources. And externally, I've got an example here. When you are looking at suppliers, thinking about working with the suppliers that are going to be aligned to your values and the way you operate. So having that in place, and that's going to help you as well to potentially build a stronger relationship with the supplier because you've got things in common, as well as the fact that you're ensuring that your values are going down through the supply chain. So there are multiple positives, which could in turn then help you with the internal operational costs there. And I was thinking about R&D, new tech. So especially when you're a small business and you're looking to grow or become more efficient, how could you use technology in your business to do this, to help you with this? Because it doesn't need to be actually new, innovative, cutting edge tech. it could be something that's just new for your business. So when you start up your business, you've got to think about, CRM systems and moving away from potentially using a spreadsheet to getting a proper system in place, your emailing system. So there are lots of bits and pieces that you gradually put in place in your small business, which is going to actually be helping you become more efficient, and it's going to help you therefore with your economic sustainability. So types of things we're thinking about there: action, improve efficiency of sales process, and the goal to make it a smart goal around processes and procedures. Make one process at least 10% more efficient each quarter. And the action, review and improve cost of supplies for IT equipment, and with the goal being to decrease current operational costs by 5% in next quarter. But it's to think about what's going to be realistic for your business, what you're actually going to be able to achieve, but having those timeframes in place, ensuring that it's measurable. We've only got 3 minutes left. I know it's evening time, so I don't want to overrun too much. So maybe have a minute or two to think about this. We are near the end of this workshop today. But if there's just one thing that you've thought of, maybe, as I was talking through what economic sustainability actually means, is there one thing you would like to put in place in your business in the next, say, quarter? Has anybody got anything they would like to share, an action, an activity they'd like to put in place in terms of economic sustainability? Quickly jump on.
Oh, Colin.
Oh, go ahead. If you want to do a quick share, go ahead.
All I was going to say is, for me, it's reduced the number of training courses I go on, which is all about my inner stuff, and not so much about necessarily about the value to the business. But yeah.
Resources. It's best use of your time thinking about yourself as an employee within your business. It works.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Mm.
So once we've gone through those sections, I've jumped back to the very top of the sustainability plan, and it's just thinking about the exec summary. So this is a classic document, like a corporate document in a way, in that there are potentially multiple people in your business that might want to review this. So it's a case of just having that short overview of what you've written throughout the rest of the document, so that any execs coming to look at it, they've got that quick snapshot. I'm not going to spend any time on this. You can kind of think about that at a later point. But just to say, next steps for this sustainability plan. This really was just a quick intro into things that you can think about and what it means to get started on a sustainability journey. So hopefully you're going to go away and you're going to review the sustainability plan. You're going to keep having to think about what you could put in place across the 3 sections to become more sustainable. You're going to look to share this with employees, and you're going to get people involved, because the more people you get involved in your business, the better. The more ideas you're going to have, then the more people are going to be on board with the activities you do put in place. So it's a really good idea to make this something that's a company-wide activity, then that everybody has an opportunity to feed into this. Any questions, you can get in touch with me on LinkedIn. So my LinkedIn is Lucy. Can't think of the line there. Can't think of the word.
Hyphen.
Lucy. Sorry. Hyphen.
Yeah.
Lucy hyphen Spencer hyphen CBS. Thanks,
Well done.
Michelle.
No worries.
Time of night. My God.
It's fine.
And email lucy@consciousbusinesssolutions.co.uk. And thank you everybody for coming along, listening, joining in with the shares, and I hope you've got something from it.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. That's really, really helpful. And there was just one more thing. So Dorset Council are now asking for environmental policies as a supportive document for grant applications. Colin's writing that in there. More and more businesses are asking for this as well. I've known people who banks as part of loan agreements also asking for those kind of policies as well. So yeah, it's increasingly important to kind of get these documents in place and have them live. Thank you so much, Lucy. That's wonderful. If anybody does want to email Lucy with any questions and things, I'm sure we can share the presentation. Is that going to be okay? We'll be sharing the recording as well. So yeah, do come back to us. Thank you.
And Michelle, if we could make sure that when we send out any emails to follow up with this, can we share the plan again in that email, just to make
100%.
sure people got it?
Yeah, absolutely, no worries at all. Thank you very much,
Brilliant.
everybody. Have
Thanks,
a lovely
folks.
evening. Look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Lucy.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Lucy. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.